Rama, another episode on startups, funding, scaling, growth, and exits. All right, so the theme of this week is, of course, brand kind of awareness, brand positioning, brand strategy, things like that. And so, continuing in that vein, we're looking today at how to differentiate your brand from your competitors. Differentiation when it comes to competitors, now a brand in the sense here is a startup. A startup is a brand is a startup, right? Uh, and so when I say brand here, I'm talking about your startup. And the principles here apply. They're universal and they apply across businesses, across market segments, across the human psyche. So differentiating a brand, not just about when you're in business and the business is running and all, but also prior to that when you're seeking funding. So we're going to discuss all those things. Let's start with the secrets behind defining your core values, crafting an authentic brand story, seeking guidance from industry leaders, embracing innovation, and creating emotional connections with your audience. These are the things we'll talk about. So, yeah, especially when it is a saturated market, your brand differentiation is very important, very critical. In fact, it's critical for all brands at all stages, but especially if you're, in a saturated market. Moving beyond generic, unique selling propositions. So we want to really step away. Well, not really step away, but take a different angle, take a different approach to USPs and all that. We're also talking about creating a emotional connection with the target audience. Okay, so let's get started. First, identifying the core values. And I've spoken about this topic several times in the past episodes. And so I will just touch upon it so that it refreshes your memory. It gets you started thinking. Core values could be a series of videos, not just one. And these daily videos, like I always say, are they're a way to just get you started thinking about these things, right? So I cannot do full justice to these topics in a 20-minute kind of episode. So define the principles that guide your brand and set you apart. The first step, if you haven't already done so, is to sit down and spend a lot of time thinking about the the principles that guide your brand, right? So these are the core principles. What is your brand about? What do you kind of what do you stand for? Beyond the, of course, making money. I mean, every startup, every business is there to make money, and it should. Profitability is at the core of business. Capitalism is good as long as it follows certain ethical principles, and it's for the good of the planet, for the good of humanity, and so on and so forth. So the guiding principles that we're talking about, on why does your business exist beyond just making money, that is very important. You need to identify that, because look, you're solving a problem today for a set of audience. You have a solution that could change. The problem may not change, but your solution may change as technology changes, consumer behavior changes, and all that. But your brand has to be consistent. The seed of your brand, why it exists, should remain the same. Therefore, you need to pick something, or you already have. You are a founder, you have certain core values, you need to bring those, put them on the table, and see which of those core values has actually kind of motivated you to get on this journey, to start this startup, this business, and all that. Focus on values that resonate with your ideal customers. So, among those values, you pick the ones that also align and resonate with your target audience, right? Now, the reason I say that is, look, one of your core values might be justice. And yet, you're launching software solutions to your consumers, especially in productivity. Justice may not be a core value that has any relevance to your target audience. They may care about justice, but you know what? You don't want to be harping on about justice, right? You could put it as one of the core values, but not the main value, right? So what's happening with my camera? I thought it was glitching. Yeah. Okay. It seems to be okay. So avoid relying solely on quality or price as differentiators. It's a very obvious thing, and but 90% of businesses, when they are sitting around thinking of differentiating strategies, they discuss quality or price. They say, and in fact, I see this all the time. USP, oh, we provide high quality, materials or so. Listen, 20 years ago, that was good. 10 years ago, maybe. 5 years ago, was already starting to get stale. Right now, it's dead in the water, right? High quality is not a USP. It's not a differentiator. It is expected. Your consumers, your customers will not accept anything less than high quality. So touting your high quality, it's a goner. Don't do that. Talk about the high quality, of course, by all means, talk about it. In fact, you should be talking about your high quality if you have one, right? But not as a differentiator. Here, we're talking about differentiating your business from your competitors, right? So, high quality, forget about it. Price, again, price, oh man, I don't know what's happening with my camera today. Apologies for that. So yeah, I was just saying that trying to talk about price. If you're doing that, I got no words for you. Craft an authentic brand story. Okay, develop a narrative that goes beyond your product or service. You know what? A brand story, a lot of people think that a brand story is, the story of the founders. Yeah, yes. The story of the founders, that's called the origin story, is a part of the brand story. But the brand story is really a story about your audience, right? It's a story that aligns with the worldview of your audience. And I will do a separate episode just on brand story and all that. But in this context, develop a narrative that goes beyond the product or service. Because if you just talk about the product or service, and if your entire brand kind of strategy is just the product or service, you're going to miss a beat. Because as competitors come out and they're all talking about the features, what really sets you apart, right? What sets you apart? So you got to think beyond that. Of course, you got to incorporate your founder story, motivations and challenges and all that. Yeah, that's a part of it, but it has to be also beyond that. Align your story with the worldview of your ideal customers. So what do your audience care about? What do they really, on a daily basis, what is important to them? If you can understand that, and this goes back to when you're building your audience persona. If you haven't watched that episode, do that. And you really know your audience, right? You know them so well that you understand the worldview, then you understand which story will resonate with them. And what does a story mean? Okay, that's a topic by itself, so I'm not going to go into that here. But it's the communication that interests your audience, right? Okay. Seek guidance from a business mentor or brand strategist. Very, very important. Identify industry leaders and experts to provide valuable insights. Now, there are two ways of doing this. Getting a business mentor, someone who's got experience with your market segment, that would be invaluable. And then getting a brand strategist who understands the nuances of telling a brand story, putting this together, creating the archetypal framework, the customer personas, then based off that, creating the brand personas based on brand archetypes, then creating the brand story, the brand message framework, positioning, differentiating, all this invaluable. Imagine, just even if you're going to funding, if your startup, the story of your startup looks fantastic, you get more chances to pitch for better investors. So you don't have to take on investors that you don't like or give more equity. This is deep rooted, my friends. I'm telling you, this is deep rooted. You got to pay attention to this. Reach out for advice on telling your brand story effectively. Consider hiring a brand strategist to fine tune your message. So if you already have a message, and you're not sure if it is the best it can be, get a brand strategist to fine tune it. That would not be money wasted. I'm telling you, it would be the best investment you would make. Okay, embrace differentiation and innovate. Recognize the commoditization of products and services. So, whatever it is that you're providing, you can bet that it is commoditized, right? It is a commodity. Even if it's okay, except if you are, I don't know, if you're an artist and you're creating hand drawn sketches, blah, blah. Even that is almost getting commoditized now. If you're Rihanna, yeah, maybe. All right. So unless you're Rihanna or Beyonce or I don't know, someone like that, or Salvador Dali, or rest assured, whatever you're producing, it's not unique. It is commoditized. So, first step, recognize that. Then focus on being different rather than just being better or cheaper. Because what happens with commodities is the competition would be like, oh, we're better than the rest of the market, or we're cheaper than the rest of the market. And then somebody else will try to outdo them. So it's a race to the bottom, right? And you don't want to be a part of that. So stay away from trying to be better or cheaper, especially cheaper. Stay away from that. Always think of, how can I charge more? That should be the question. How can I charge more? Not how can I charge less so that I can get market share, because your market share will be taken easily when someone else, underprices you. So that is the whole kind of ethos of differentiation, brand strategy, brand stories, and things like that. Stand out by offering exceptional customer service and unique experiences. So one aspect, and only one aspect, this is just one aspect, that is low-hanging fruit in a way, is exceptional customer service, unique experiences. Whatever your product is, whatever your service is, there is room to create exceptional customer service and experiences that actually differentiates you from the competition. Okay, establish an emotional connection with your audience. Shift focus from product features to emotional benefits. Okay, so if you're saving them time, everybody says we're saving time, right? In your market segment, they will say we save you money, we save time, but go beyond that. What does time really mean for your audience persona, for that avatar, that character, that Joe, that Jessica, right? Or Maya, or whatever. What does time mean to them? Because when you just say we save you time, okay, so what? That's why I always say go back to your audience persona. You see now? You see how the dots are being connected? If you've been following my daily episodes for the past few weeks, I've been slowly arriving at this, and we spoke about audience personas and validation of your startup idea. Okay. So you can create that emotional connection only if you understand your audience, right? So consider how your brand can evoke positive feelings in customers. Again, it goes back to psychographics. Use relatable stories and messaging to create deeper connections. So rather than saying, "Oh, we're the best," we are, if you kind of come to our product or service, yes, but much deeper than that. What do you care about that your audience cares about? Those are the stories that you need to come up with. Those are the stories that need to be part of your marketing campaigns. And those are the stories that need to really get out there and start showing the world what you really mean, what you really care about. Okay, so today's topic, it's a vast topic, and I know I sort of just scratched the surface, but I can tell you without a shadow of doubt that you need to start at the brand essence, right? The core of your brand, the core values, what you stand for, what you care for, care about. And then you need to do a detailed kind of audience persona. Once you completed that, you go back to your brand and create the brand persona that aligns with that audience persona, right? And then you start creating your brand strategy. How do you differentiate yourself? The way you differentiate yourself is not just about you, it's about your audience. Because at the end of the day, you're different to others. So who cares about that? Your audience, right? Your potential customers. Therefore, differentiating just for the sake of differentiation, it's not going to help you. If you differentiate so that your audience cares about it, those are the companies, the businesses that win, not just in the short term, long term. And if you're going for funding, imagine you create a brand story. Imagine you have a strategy in place. Imagine your positioning and you're differentiating yourself. And your investors look at this. They want to be a part of this. They want a piece of the action because they know your startup is going to go somewhere. So they will say, here is my money. Let's get on with this business, right? So a lot of benefits for really figuring out differentiation. And if you can't do it yourself, get an advisor, get a brand strategist, someone who can help you with this process, someone who can create that for you. And the investment you make in that strategist, it's not going to go wasted. All right. So that is all for today. And if you have any questions, hit me up on LinkedIn, send me a DM, and I'll try to offer my 2 cents. Or on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter or LinkedIn. All right. Till my next episode, go forth and prosper.